So if you took the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, mixed it with Gladiator, and threw in Ash Williams from The Evil Dead just for good measure, this is what you might get. Spare Parts is brought to us by director Andrew Thomas Hunt and stars Michelle Arguris, Emily Alatello, and the always creepy yet awesome Julian Richings. We follow an indie punk rock girl band touring the small town bar scene. After participating in a bar brawl mid-show at their latest gig, the girls hit the road on the way to their next show. Unfortunately for them, right after leaving, they get run off the road by a madman in a Corvette. However, fortunately, they are quickly picked up by local law enforcement and their van is towed to the local junkyard where it can get repaired and they can get back on the road. But you didn't really think it would be that easy, did you? Well, apparently they did, and their dumbasses get gassed and they pass out. And when they wake up, things are a little different. They've apparently fallen in with a different kind of people. Upon waking up, each of them find that they have had one of their arms surgically removed at the elbow, and some type of metal coupling installed with their bone just sticking right out of it. Finding this, understandably so, a bit odd, the girls are wondering, what the fuck is going on? And they soon find that this wrong crowd they fell in with is actually some kind of modern day Roman Empire, but in the American Midwest or some shit. There's like this whole community of people living within this junkyard, and everything about their lives center around this arena deathmatch thing they have going on. And they treat it all like it's ancient Rome. They've even got an emperor and everything. So the girls are trained, and then they have weapons, blunt and otherwise, attached to their arms so that they can go and fight in this arena like gladiators. But what are they going to do? Are they going to try and find a way to escape and get back to their regular lives? Or could they possibly just take to this new life and find a way to bask in the glory of the arena? Spare Parts is a weird fucking movie, but it is also a really fun movie if you are willing to suspend a whole lot of disbelief. This movie is as crazy as that description I gave a moment ago. It's pretty fucking out there. It is very much a modern exploitation film if I've ever seen one. And in that, you can't really take it seriously. I mean, we're talking about a movie where a group of people live in a fucking junkyard and operate like it's ancient Rome. And while it is kind of played straight, there's no world where the filmmakers thought everybody's gonna take this totally seriously. And if you can go into this thing knowing what you're getting and knowing that this is just kind of an over-the-top good time, you will have a fucking fantastic time with this over-the-top crazy insane movie. And that is exactly what this is. This is exploitation, over-the-top, batshit insane. We got people running around with fucking chainsaws on their arms, swords, big maces, the fucking flail things, fucking flamethrowers, just it's fucking crazy. The story is there. I mean, they are ultimately held prisoner, and of course they want to get away from this situation, but it, for the most part, kind of plays second fiddle to the over-the-top insanity. There's lots of attempts at freedom and ideas and plans, and then you've got people that are kind of aligning with other people, but you're not really sure if they're just doing that so that they can find a way out, or if they're actually kind of buying into this whole thing now. Lots of talk of glory and legacy and living immortally through battle. I mean, it's just a really fucking strange affair, but as I said, at the same time, it's a really good time. And while the story is kind of ham-fisted and out there and over the top, it is all played with conviction by our performers. Our two main members of the band and the main characters in the movie, Amy and Emma, played by Arguris and Altello, both do a good job here hamming it up and having a pretty good time with this ridiculous material. While the story bits are a bit light and ham-fisted, the parts where they actually throw down, which are quite a few throughout this movie, these two do a fantastic job of just throwing down like badasses. They sell you on the fact that you do not want to fuck with these two. They were badasses before this happened, and now they're even more badasses because they got fucking weapons attached to their goddamn arms. And while these aren't like thespian performances or anything, they definitely fit that kind of over-the-top grindhouse feel that this movie's going for. Another performance I enjoyed, though it was a bit limited, was the ever-creepy Julian Richings. Richings' Emperor is exactly the Emperor that this movie needed. His super creepy, ham-fisted, over-the-top performance is exactly the kind of cheese that this ham and cheese sandwich needed. And while he's not in the movie a ton, when he is there, he adds that just right amount of kind of odd offness performance that he does in any performance that he's typically in. I mean, really, name one Julian Richings performance where he's not playing some really creepy weirdo. Just one, I dare you. There's not any, that's what he does, but you know, he does it really fucking good. Everybody else in the movie is fine for what this is. Like I said, this isn't thespian performances or anything, but for a grindhouse over-the-top exploitation flick, all the performances here fit just right. Now, from a technical perspective, you can tell that this movie is a bit lower budget. However, they do a really good job with the money that they have. They wanted to make a modern-day over-the-top movie about gladiators in the ring fighting to the death, and that's what they did. That's where the vast majority of the money in this movie went. The movie does have a very grimy, cheap look. Not to necessarily what's on screen, but just the way that it's shot. But I do think that that was intentional. And when I say cheap, I don't mean like it looks bad. I mean, it just kind of looks old and grimy, like the grindhouse movies that it's trying to emulate. And in that respect, they did a really good job, and that look really works here. Special effects wise, everything's looking pretty good too. You can tell that they did have limitations, and they rarely went beyond those limitations. The vast majority of what we got here looks to be practical, and that's a really good thing. We do have some CGI blood splatter here or there, but for the most part, that looks pretty good, because we've also got a good bit of practical blood spray, and oh my god, that shit is all over the fucking place, and it's fucking glorious. There's absolutely gore in this movie, and when it's on, it's really fucking on. Like, we're seeing heads getting caved the fuck in, arms getting cut off, people getting stabbed and chainsawed. It's good stuff, especially for gorehounds. You're definitely gonna find some stuff here to like. It does seem like they wanted to go a little bit further than that though, and they were unable to. It probably just wasn't in the budget. So you do get quite a few scenes that are cut away real quick, and you just get a whole bunch of blood sprayed on somebody. I mean, that's a good time, and I honestly prefer that over them overextending themselves in the effects department and it looking like shit. They did give us some solid gore effects. Was it quite as many as I would have liked, or even quite as many as they would have liked? Probably not, but there are plenty here. And the ones that we got are all very well done. Lots of squishy, gushy, gross stuff here. It's a really good time for gorehounds. Guys, Spare Parts is not a masterpiece, but it is a really good time. This is not gonna be at the top of anybody's top 10 list of the year, but it is a really solid time for the night. We got some hokey, ham-fisted, over-the-top performances, some ridiculously violent and bloody arena fighting, and a fairly brisk runtime that does not overstay its welcome. And if you like ridiculously over-the-top violent grindhouse exploitation flicks, then check out Spare Parts on streaming.
Across the street.
Spare Parts gave me exactly what I wanted out of this kind of movie. Some really violent, ridiculous exploitation antics for an hour and a half. So if any of that sounds like a good time to you, then check out Spare Parts one night, and I think you'll have a good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Spare Parts. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Rome.
Made for this place.
Now, like I said in the review, you can't really take this movie too seriously. If you try to look into it too much, you're just gonna start to pick it apart. You're meant to just kind of go with it and have a good time. However, if you do start to pick it apart, one of the things that I thought of first and foremost was some of the more advanced weapons that they give these people that are their prisoners. I mean, they get like chainsaws and flamethrowers and these like guns that shoot bolts and shit. I mean, it gets pretty out there. And while me myself, I've never been in a situation like this, but I don't really know if anybody in modern times has been in a situation like this, but me myself, I haven't been. If I had been, and you gave me a fucking flamethrower on my arm, you best believe I'm getting the fuck out of that bitch at that point. And this guy's got like a fucking flamethrower walking around that arena just kind of going ha 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 ha, shooting at all the people like inside the arena. Man, you've lost your motherfucking mind. I would straight up point that bitch at the fucking stands and light that motherfucker up. Everybody in that bitch would be roasted the fuck out. And I'd go walking the fuck out with that bitch in flames exploding in the background while I walked away in motherfucking slow-mo. Just like this right here. Either that or one would shoot me in the fucking head while I was trying to do that. Either way, I'm getting the fuck out that bitch.